All right, so the last thing that I'm going to show you today is some things that have to do with what you're going to do for detail for these designs. Now, on your Google Classroom, you will have some examples of surreal artwork. Surreal artwork is actually, it was based off of nightmares or just like really weird dreams and like the subconscious mind. So, like your mind when it's sleeping and the weird things that it thinks about or the things that, like, we imagine. So, what I'm doing here, first of all, is I'm finishing up this one form that I have in the very, very front. This is the beginning of my surreal landscape. Now yours can be an interior of a room. It can be out in space. It can be just a bunch of really weird forms and shapes floating in like the space of your picture. So it doesn't have to be somewhere, but you're gonna want to figure out what your theme for your surreal artwork is going to be. So my theme, I guess, is going to be kind of like this industrial ooze kind of stuff. So there's these pieces that look like they maybe exploded. For example, like this one, these cylinders look like they're getting shot into these pieces. I'm gonna finish up the back edge of my cylinder here, making sure it's nice and rounded, like the front edge of my cylinder right here is rounded. You want to make sure the back edge of your cylinder is rounded. Now you notice that I erased out all of my orthogonal or converging lines. Okay, I erased those out, except for these that are on my cylinders that are shooting out. Because I want to leave these to kind of make them look like movement lines. I could even maybe like detach them a little bit. I could maybe add some additional ones to really make it look like it's shooting, so it's like more like movement lines. But I want to make sure that these look like they are actually shooting out from that space back there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start adding details to it. We're not gonna add color yet because I want you to really think about the details that you're adding, and once you add color, it makes it really difficult to add detail. So I'm going to start drawing things like, for example, ooze. Things that are kind of pouring out. So it looks like some kind of industrial, who knows what, pouring out of my pipes here. I'm not sure what that is. And that's part of what makes it kind of weird and surreal is we don't know what it is. It's just kind of there, and we can make it later on whatever color we want it to be, or colors. It can change color. We can make it whatever we want to. You could make yours pretty and cute if you wanted to. You could make yours look scary. Mine's just kind of like the what is going on kind of thing, more than like anything that's scary, and it's definitely not pretty. That's okay. So, you really want to think about what details you're adding to this. So one of the things I could do is I could like kind of just to add to that strangeness, I could start popping up little flowers here and there to make it look like, like this ooze and whatever else is starting to come in, and where these beautiful flowers once were, maybe they could be like kind of starting to sag or something. So maybe this is like an environmental like kind of thing where it's talking about like when there's ooze and stuff that's coming, that it ends up not being so good for our environment. So it really is up to you what you want to do with yours. The one thing that you are going to be required to do, and I'm actually going to erase this to make it bigger, is you're going to be required to make sure that yours, and excuse me, this is my cat walking through. You are going to be required to show space. So what is space? Space means like how it's not talking about space like outer space. I'm talking about like the space they're making things look like they're going back in space. Okay, so some ways that you can throw space is by overlapping. So for example, you can see that these lines are overlapped by this form here. You can see the ooze is starting to overlap, okay, the pipes and whatever else that it's coming out of. You also can show space by the size of things. So if things are bigger, it's kind of like when my hand gets closer to to the camera versus if it goes further away. It's gonna be it's gonna be bigger when it's closer. So I might have like a really big flower here. And again, I'm going to try to make that look like it's more like dying here. So I'm going to make it kind of drawn like it's starting to sag like this. And of course, like when I draw this, I want to draw it nice and big because it's up in the front. There we go. And now I can go in there and kind of erase out things that, look like they should actually be behind, for example, my flower. So again, this would be showing overlap. There we go. So you can see it ends here, so I can't see through my flower. There we go. And then I could continue to draw some back here, but maybe as I draw the ones back here, because I want to be showing, of course, that things are getting smaller as they go back, I could be drawing things that are smaller and smaller back here. Okay, so, sorry about that. So it's going to be up to you to figure out what you want to do with your landscape, or with not if your landscape, with your 1-point perspective. Now I'm all out of sorts because my cat is in the middle of our video, but that's okay. That's part of our life now. So enjoy this, have fun with it. Again, if you're really into sports, if you're really into car racing, if you're really into dance or into like you like candy, you could put something like that has candy or that looks like it's about ice cream, or you can have something that's kind of like this, where it looks like things that are dying because of the fact that like there's toxic sludge. But it's really up to you what you choose to do with it. You can see that these organic forms that I'm drawing in here, because remember we talked about organic and we've talked about geometric, that they're helping to break up the space to make it look more interesting, that it's not just these straight forms, not just our geometric forms anymore. Now you've got those organic forms of the flowers and things like that. So make sure you're thinking about that too when you're drawing these. Again, have fun with it. And ask me questions if you have questions about this. And that's pretty much it. If you want to use the 1-point perspectives that you've been working on, continue working on them and figure out what you can do with them. If you want to restart and do something new, you absolutely can. Your first one that you did was required that you had to have 5, but for this one, you don't have to have 5. You could have just one that has like a lot of detail. Like for example, if you chose to do a really big building like this, and that filled up a lot of the space and it had a lot of detail, like the bricks going back in space, then I wouldn't require you to do more than like 1 or 2 of those. But make sure that you are putting detail into it so that it's really filling the space, and that you have some like bigger things, and you have some medium-sized things, and you have some like smaller things, including the details that you're adding onto your shapes and forms even in the front. Okay? So again, have fun. Enjoy it, and I will be around for you to ask questions. Email me, send me a message, and I will get back to you.